Wilson Tucker Jr. and here to talk about Maryland women's basketball. They advanced to the Sweet 16 with a hard-fought win over 7th seed Arizona earlier this evening. They played at 5:30 in College Park in the second round. The winner advances to the Sweet 16, as I just mentioned, and Maryland made sure to punch their ticket. But let me tell you how it happened. Arizona was led by Kate Reese with 19 points, 4 rebounds. Shayna Pellington had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. While Paris Clark, a freshman, big performance from her. She came through, and Arizona definitely needed it in the first half, giving them some much needed life. She finished with 11 points and 3 rebounds off the bench. Esmery Martinez finished the game with a game high 13 rebounds. She also had 8 points, so just missing out on a double double. Maryland was led by Diamond Miller. She scored 20 of her 24 points in the second half, with 13 of them coming in the third period. She also had 6 rebounds and 7 assists. Cheyenne Sellers had another all-around game, 15 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. Faith Masonis, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. And Brene Alexander, who also finished with 12 points, to go along with her 4 rebounds and a steal. The Terps got off to a great start. They did that in the first round game against Holy Cross, to a lesser degree in this one, but a 12-2 start is a good start. They would even push that lead to as many as 12 in the first quarter. But things went left for Maryland when Cheyenne Sellers picked up her second foul. So they had to survive those minutes, aka the second quarter, and they didn't do a good job of that at all. With Sellers out, the Wildcats took full advantage and used the second quarter surge to take control of the game. Both teams took turns trying to pressure each other, whether it be full court, quarter court, what have you. And one of the things that gives Maryland a different dimension is that Cheyenne Sellers, their starting point guard, just happens to be 6'2". So you can't pressure a 6'2" point guard the same way you're going to pressure someone who's 5'8". At 6'2", you can see over the press. You can't really press them with smaller players to a larger degree. You just pick your dribble up and see over the defense and make the right pass. So they truly struggled with her off the floor. The second half started, and it started kind of sloppy for both teams. Again, Arizona went into the half leading 33-32. It was 4 straight possessions combined amongst the teams, and all 4 resulted in turnovers. Then Maryland got it rolling a little bit. They burst out to a 7-0 run to start the half. Shayna Pellington and then Esmery Martinez picked up their third fouls. Pellington is Arizona's starting point guard. We saw in their matchup against West Virginia in the first round where they won. She got in foul trouble in that game too, but freshman Kaylin Gilbert came in and gave them great minutes. She nursed a 6-point lead, and then not only nursed it, helped that lead grow. But that wasn't the case. Just dealing with West Virginia's pressure versus Maryland pressure is 2 totally different things. Especially when you take into consideration the size of their guards. It's just a different challenge. Gilbert's about 5'8". There's one play that comes to mind. Late in the third quarter, she's bringing the ball up, and it's it's a 1-2-2 press, and she gets trapped in the corner trying to bring the ball to the corner. Cheyenne turns her to the sideline, and Diamond's there to cut her off. She can't see anything. She's stuck. She's looking for help. And in that possession, her teammates didn't do her any favors where nobody came up to give her a viable target. So it was a tie up. Maryland gets the ball, but just one of those examples of the challenges between West Virginia pressuring with guards about her size, which she handled pretty well, 2 days ago. Maryland was able to blow open the game with a dominant third quarter, right? 29-9. As I mentioned earlier, Diamond had 20 of her 24 in the second half, 13 of which came in the third quarter. Once Maryland gets rolling, they start getting downhill, getting out in transition and running. It's kind of hard to cut their water off. There was some sloppy play in the fourth, and that led to Arizona kind of cutting into the deficit a little bit, but it was never enough that Maryland truly, they didn't come close to losing control or anything like that. So the Terps were definitely able to settle down to advance. In the Sweet 16, they will be facing third seed Notre Dame. Um, we played Notre Dame earlier this year in a non-conference matchup. One of the things that will be different this go round, something I'm sure we'll talk about later this week, and I'm sure we'll talk to them before they're sent off. They have their send off to head out to Greensville to take on Notre Dame on the 25th. No Olivia Miles this go round. Unfortunately, their star point guard is hurt for the Irish, but again, we'll get into that later. Just some thoughts that I had or I took from watching this game. Faith Masonis. It was a masterful performance. I talked with her after the game, and I'm sure you guys have a chance to see that. It's also up on the channel. Again, you look at the box score. If you're just box score watching rather, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. It doesn't come across like 15 points and 10 boards or 15 and 15. However, this year she's kind of drawn the short straw in terms of it's a team full of guards and somebody has to play the 5, and she's done it quite often. I remember some of the non-conference matchups, especially when they took on South Carolina, just down there taking some punishment. But this was one of those games where sometimes you're reminded that that's a guard. Arizona had some different presses they threw at Maryland, and at times one of the ways that Maryland was able to deal with it, that's one hell of a pressure release valve, is that you can just hand your 5 the ball and have her bring it up court, or in the half court. Things get bogged down. Sometimes you have your 5, they're just there, as part of the dribble handoff, just they literally one dribble hand the ball off. For her, it's a little different. She can put the ball on the floor. We saw her bring it up a little bit and initiate the offense at time to make calls, get them into their sets. She was huge tonight, and again, the box score, it shows that she had an impact. It's not going to fully show everything that she did for them, especially on the defensive end. They have big guards at Maryland, and they're able to switch almost anything at all times, depending on who's out there. And she did a great job in the post. I felt like she did more of her damage tonight out on the perimeter when she was switching, because it looked like they tried to have Cheyenne and Diamond on Reese and Martinez as often as they could. And we'll get to Cheyenne and the job she did defensively as well a little bit later. But Faith was up there just being a natural disruptor and a deterrent as always. But her full game was on display. It's great to see her, just play her full game. And again, enjoy speaking with her after the game. And hope you guys enjoyed the, hearing her thoughts on it as well. Again, it'll be up on the channel as well. Cheyenne Sellers, irreplaceable in this one. The only thing she did wrong tonight, foul trouble. She had 4 fouls, and 3 to 4. I don't even want to say were really. A couple of them were questionable, but however, I think that's something that as she continues to mature, just a couple of those, she could have just made the choice not to foul or not to contest, rather, to put herself in that situation because they needed her. At times Maryland's they've had to play without Diamond, for stretches in the first half, or the stretches of the games when she's in foul trouble. But Cheyenne's still there, so even as bad as that sounds, Cheyenne's still in the court, and again, that's the starting point guard. When Cheyenne's off the court, it was immediately felt, and obviously there's been times she's been in foul trouble this year, but rarely. Again, she had a great game. I'm sure she would have done more damage if she wasn't saddled to the bench at times because of foul trouble. Arizona did not have an answer for her with her size, her ability to just elevate at times and knock down pull-up jumpers. She did a great job battling in the post down there with Reese and Martinez at times. She fighting with Reese, just establishing a good enough position as a defender that, when Reese would try to shed her, she drew I want to say 2 or 3 fouls on Reese. Let's see how many fouls Kate had this game. So I want to say 2 of the fouls. So Kate had 3. I want to say at least 2 were drawn by Cheyenne. Just defending her in the post, fronting her, making sure she wasn't giving up position to get the entry passes over the top. Like she did a hell of a job defending the post tonight. She truly did. And again, I mentioned her pull up game a little bit. The two blocks. One of them, I think the first one came on Martinez. The other one was on I want to say Pellington driving. Again, just you're asking. They're a team full of guards, and at some point you do have to protect the rim and things of that nature. And they got away with it because essentially they're starting backcourt. However you want to go about it, but their guards were able to defend the post admirably, able to defend the rim in transition, drawing fouls on post players because they can literally hold up well enough at times. Her game tonight was only marred by the foul trouble. Outside of that, very clean game from Sellers. Let's see what she have. I can't say very clean game because there's some turnovers, but it was a clean game from her. And I just thought without her, we saw that stretch without her. Maryland was off the rails for a little while without her. Diamond was Diamond. Slow first half, as I mentioned. 4 points in the first half, 20 in the second half, 13 in the third. But a lot of it just seemed like she made up her mind to attack in the second half. And again, this is the story. We've seen this before with her at times. Sometimes getting slow first half usually means a big second half for her. But she did a good job just putting pressure on Arizona's defense. I thought she also wasn't out of control at all either. It was hell. I'm sure it was hell for Reese and Martinez. I think Martinez had the brunt of it. Just trying to deal with her coming off handoffs or moving without the ball or just even off the bounce. Diamond's a tough cover. She's one of those people, whether it be male or female, folks with long limbs that know how to use every inch of the length that they have, and she does it. We saw a couple of the scoop shots. I was sitting next to Arizona's radio play-by-play. He was doing a play-by-play for Arizona radio. I don't know what station or what have you, but he did a great job. Wish I got his name. He did a good job with the call or whatnot. But I guess he wasn't too familiar with Diamond in terms of just those step through the scoops, all that. That's just part of her bag. And he seemed kind of impressed by it after the first couple. And then want to shout out Renee Alexander as well. She's been a pivotal part of this whole thing. And tonight, just like give credit to Cheyenne, Renee did a great job down in the post fighting too. Just simply not ceding ground. She also had a really nice post move on the offensive end on Kate Reese, low block, nice drop step, little chicken wing to get around it. Finished with an easy layup. Talked to her about that post move after the game. She said she grew up as a post player, so she's kind of comfortable down there. Still has those moves as we saw. But for Maryland, definitely some things to clean up. It clearly wasn't a perfect game, but it's the time of the year, man. It's your job is to survive in advance. They did more than enough to survive in advance, and they're going to continue dancing on to Greenville, South Carolina, where they'll face Notre Dame in the round of 16. So, congrats to Maryland for that. And we'll check in with you guys later this week, as I'm sure we're going to talk to them before they head to Greenville to take on Notre Dame.